Something has changed in the way you see things. Not with your eyes, but with that deeper instrument inside you, the one that processes reality beneath its surface. Situations that once confused you are suddenly crystal clear. People whose motives were a mystery are now transparent, almost before they finish their first sentence. Patterns you could never connect are now assembling themselves into pictures so obvious you can't believe you ever missed them. Something incredibly powerful has just expanded inside your perception. The world you're looking at is the same world it has always been, but you are no longer looking at it from the same level you were standing on before. In the entire recorded history of spiritual awakening, this specific expansion of perception is considered one of the rarest and most irreversible events in a soul as development. Most people move through their entire lives operating from a single layer of reality, seeing only what's on the surface and accepting it as the whole story. But activating this deeper sight, this level of discernment and pattern recognition, requires a soul to have passed through very specific refinements that most never complete in a single lifetime. Ancient wisdom traditions describe this as the opening of the inner eye. This isn't just a metaphor. It's a real expansion of consciousness that, once triggered, cannot be reversed or returned to its previous state. Think about it. Recently, you made a decision. You chose to trust what you felt over what you were told. You trusted your own internal reading of a situation over the version someone else was presenting. You might not have been able to articulate their motives, but you could feel them deeply. That single act of honoring your own perception, of choosing the quiet signal inside over the loud narrative outside, was the exact trigger that expanded your discernment beyond its previous limits. The universe doesn't grant deeper sight to souls who are still outsourcing their perception to others. It reserves this expanded awareness for the soul that has demonstrated the courage to trust what it sees, even before it can fully explain what it's seeing. You should know that both dark and divine forces have had your perception under careful surveillance, because what you can see directly determines what can be hidden from you. Dark forces have invested significant energy in keeping your discernment at a manageable level. They fed you confusion, self-doubt, and conflicting information, specifically designed to make you distrust your own internal readings. A soul that can't trust its own perception is a soul that can be continuously misdirected. But at the same time, divine forces were cultivating something in you with every single experience that challenged your ability to see clearly. Every moment you pushed through confusion toward truth, every time you sensed something before you could prove it, your perception was being incrementally and deliberately expanded, leading you to this moment of full activation. Do you remember? Remember when you sensed a situation was off, long before you had any logical evidence to support that feeling? You honored that feeling anyway, and later, you were proven entirely correct. Remember when you accurately read someone's intention the moment you met them, despite their perfectly polished exterior, and you trusted that reading even when others around you didn't? Remember when you saw a pattern in a series of events that everyone else was treating as unrelated, and you followed that thread to a truth that completely changed your direction? Remember when confusion was being used as a weapon against you, and you chose to sit in stillness long enough to let the picture clarify, rather than accepting the distorted version being offered? Each of those moments was an exercise, building the perceptual capacity you now permanently carry. The higher beings who oversee the development of spiritual perception in human souls recently reviewed your discernment record, and what they found was extraordinary. Your ability to navigate toward truth in environments specifically designed to obscure it has been developing with a consistency and depth that places you in a classification reserved for very few souls. They measured your pattern recognition, your intuitive accuracy, your willingness to trust internal signals over external pressure, and they found all three operating at a level that qualified you for full perceptual activation. You were classified as a seer of the highest functional order. This isn't some mystical title. It's a designation of consciousness. It means your awareness now operates at a frequency that makes deception, misalignment, and hidden agendas functionally visible to you in ways they simply are not to others. At the exact moment your perception crossed into its expanded state, it was witnessed with complete attention. The archangels assigned to the awakening of human consciousness gathered and observed what was happening in your awareness. They had watched you navigate seasons of deliberate confusion, of carefully constructed misdirection, of environments that worked against your ability to see clearly. And they watched your perception not only survive, but sharpen through it all. When the expansion finally activated, heaven recognized it as the completion of one of the most demanding perceptual refinement sequences a soul can be assigned. A divine declaration was spoken over your sight that sealed what had been opened, guaranteeing that no force operating in darkness could ever return your awareness to its previous, more manageable limitation. A decree was issued that your expanded perception is now permanent, protected, and purposeful. It's already operating in every dimension of your awareness. The universe has formally activated your full discernment capacity. And what comes with that activation isn't just the ability to see more clearly, but the divine backing that ensures what you see leads you accurately. The decree states that confusion has lost its jurisdiction over your understanding. Misdirection has lost its effectiveness against your path. Hidden motives have lost their invisibility in your presence. What is true will now arrive in your awareness with a clarity and a speed that will often outpace your ability to logically explain how you knew what you knew before the evidence even showed up. You are not simply someone whose intuition has improved. You are an ancient soul who has carried the gift of deep perception across multiple lifetimes. You chose in this incarnation to develop it inside the most challenging conditions possible, environments of confusion, misdirection, and deliberately hidden truth. You are a celestial seer, a soul whose consciousness was designed to cut through the layers of human reality to find the truth beneath. Your expanded sight isn't just a personal advantage. It's a cosmic instrument. Every lifetime spent navigating complexity, sensing what was hidden, and trusting inner knowing against outer pressure was building toward the full activation of the perceptual gift you now permanently and irrevocably carry. Your mission now is to use this expanded sight in service of the people around you who are still navigating in the dark. You are assigned to be a clarity anchor, a presence whose perception helps others find truth in situations that were designed to keep them confused. You are not meant to announce what you see or use your discernment as a weapon to expose people. You're meant to ask the questions that guide others toward their own seeing, to create the space where truth becomes visible to those who haven't yet developed the perceptual capacity to find it on their own. Your sight isn't just for your own protection. It's a tool of liberation for every person your life touches. Watch what begins to change in your practical everyday experience now that your perception is fully activated. Decisions that once took weeks of agonizing uncertainty will now arrive with a clarity that feels almost effortless. Relationships that carry misalignment will become immediately and unmistakably apparent before they have a chance to cost you anything significant. Opportunities that are genuinely suited to your path will carry a distinct, recognizable signal that separates them from the ones that only look good on the surface. The right doors will feel different from the wrong ones, even before you fully understand why. Your navigation of life is about to become dramatically more efficient because the instrument you are now using to read your reality has been permanently calibrated to a higher and more accurate frequency. As your expanded perception becomes a natural part of how you move through the world, people around you will start to notice something different in the quality of your understanding. You'll say things that cut through the confusion of a situation in a single sentence. You'll ask questions that unlock clarity in people who have been stuck for months. You'll see the solution, the pattern, or the hidden dynamic before anyone else in the room even knows it exists. And the people who witness your sight in action will feel something shift in themselves. They'll feel a hunger to develop their own perception, a new willingness to look beneath the surface of their own lives, and a growing discomfort with just accepting reality as it's presented. Your awakened sight will make the people around you less willing to remain asleep. Right now, across the world, thousands of souls are in the final stages of their own perceptual expansion. They're navigating the last seasons of confusion that come right before their deeper sight activates. They are part of the same global network of awakening seers, being simultaneously activated across every culture and every field of human experience, where truth is most urgently needed. You are connected to every single one of them by the frequency of expanded awareness. And when your sight operates openly and without apology, it sends a signal to every soul still in the confusion preceding their own activation. It tells them that clarity is real, that deeper perception is available, and that what they are beginning to sense beneath the surface of their reality is exactly what they think it is. If this message found you today, it is because your perception has already expanded enough to recognize truth when it has spoken directly to your awareness. Comment 777 right now as your declaration that you receive the full activation of your discernment, and that you commit to honoring what you see, even when it can't yet be logically explained. Share this with someone who has been sensing things they can't yet articulate, and who needs to be told that what they are perceiving is real, and that learning to trust it is the most important thing they can do right now. Subscribe so that every message released for souls operating at your level of awareness finds you without delay. And if you stayed until this final word, your perception already told you before you finished this video that everything spoken here was meant specifically for you. Thank you for listening.